guys. So I want to let you know right off the bat that if you're looking for a video in which I'm talking about moving in with my current boyfriend, you're gonna be very disappointed. Because number one, I don't have a boyfriend. And yep, nope, that's it. But 3 years ago, I did have a boyfriend and I did move in with him. And it honestly amazed me that I haven't told you guys this story yet, but here it goes. I was 18 turning 19 years old. So in case you guys are trying to do the math, I'm turning 22 in about a week. So yeah. I was working at this high school for kids with special needs. At first, I was scared to say his real name because every time you see a Storytime video, people change their names, but legally he can't sue me. Everything in this story is 100% true. So his name was Jonathan. And if you're watching this, fuck you. I digress. Jonathan was also working at this high school. So I go into work one day and he just so happened to be the new history teacher for these kids. And I was like, he's kind of cute. And so I was super into it. I was like, okay, yeah, this guy's hot. All right, cool, let's do this. We added each other on Facebook. Correction, I found him on Facebook and creepishly added him and he accepted. Yes. About 2 days later, I got in a car accident, which they're the worst. Whatever, I got in a car accident and it just so happened to be the first time that he messaged me. So he was like, hey, what's up? And I was like, fuck, just got in a car accident. He's like, fuck. He asked if he should come and like help me and I'm like, no. Whatever, I say no thank you and I head to my brother's house. We start talking on Facebook and he asks me out on a date and I was like, yes. But when I clicked on his profile and actually looked, it said in a relationship. Wait. So obviously I was like, what the fuck is this guy trying to pull? So I messaged him back and I was like, wait, are you sure you want to go on a date? You have a girlfriend, ... I had really good confrontational skills back then. He was like, oh no, that's over. We already broke up. I just haven't changed the relationship status yet. And then he started changing his story to, oh no, like it's totally over, but I just haven't talked to her about it. So I'm totally gonna do that. In my 18-year-old brain, honestly, I was like, whatever, cool, sounds good. 2 days later, he changes it. He's single, blah, blah, blah. And we go on a date. To be honest, I really didn't like him at first. I thought he was kind of cute, but I didn't really feel that connection. And I'm also just gonna warn you that throughout this story, there's 30 billion red flags, and you're probably gonna comment below on how fucking stupid I was for ignoring them, but I already know that, so joke's on you. Joke's on you, fuck you. He asked me to be his girlfriend on February 17th. Oh, and he was 27 at this time. He's 27, I'm 18, and in a week and a half, he asked me to be his girlfriend. I hadn't had a boyfriend since I was like 14, so I told him no. I started getting like a lot of anxiety and I was like, no, I can't be your girlfriend. Like this, I can't do it. And he was like, fine, whatever. He was really sad about it. And then the next day, he asked me to be his girlfriend again and I was like, okay, fuck it. I mean, sure, whatever. So I was his girlfriend. A month after that, on our month anniversary, he bought me a promise ring. What the fuck? Jonathan was a very smooth talker. Someone who spits lines at you and is like really smooth and can talk his way out of things and tell you exactly what you want to hear. The fuckboy types. My dad saw this right away. My dad met him once and he was like, I don't like this guy. My mom met him. She didn't really like him, but was kind of like, okay, yeah, I could, have fun. But whatever, I wore the promise ring and I was like, oh my God, we're so in love. And I did. I started falling in love with this man. Until this day, he's the only man I've ever loved. And we'll get into that later. Then our 2-month anniversary comes. We're having a lot of fun together, but we're seeing each other really, really, really often. At this point, I was still living at home. I was living in my mom's house. And so it just started to make my parents feel uncomfortable that I would go to his house. He lives like an hour away from me, so when I would go visit him, I would be driving home really late. Like at midnight, I would start driving home, and my parents hated that. They sat me down and they were like, Jessi, this is not okay. You need to be home by 11 p.m. or you can't go out at all. Me being 18, stubborn as hell, rude as hell, very, very just out of whack at that point in my life. I told them, I'm like, no, that's not happening. Obviously, this didn't fly with my parents. I made the decision to move in with this guy. I break my mom's fucking heart. Like I left her house and it was the worst thing ever. I left on an Easter Sunday. She was sobbing and I like snuck in with him to like get all my shit, and he had a friend who had a trailer, so I just came in my mom's house when she wasn't there and took all my shit, and that's how she found out that I left, and it was the worst thing ever. It was just a horrible choice on my part. We decided we're gonna get an efficiency, and for those of you that don't know what an efficiency is, it is basically like a room or a separate part of a house that is rented off to other people. It's really common in Miami. I don't know if it's common in other places. We basically were renting someone's side garage part. To give you guys a timeline, we celebrated our 3-month anniversary on the night that we moved in. I was like head over heels for this guy. I mean, I was so fucking in love with him. We go in, there's grime on everything. The walls are disgusting. Like, it was just a really gross place. So we just both like cleaned it all up. I was super excited because I mean, I was 18 years old. I was moving in with this 27-year-old man. I felt like I had found the person that I was gonna marry. I felt so much freedom, and I really ignored the fact that I broke my parents' heart. My mom was devastated. My dad dad literally just stopped speaking to me. I didn't go on family vacation. I was removed from my entire family. My mom still spoke to me because my mom is my mom, and no matter what, I know she's always gonna accept me and love me, but I could see like the hurt in her eyes. I had to lie to her at first and tell her that it was just me moving out. She eventually just put 2 and 2 together that we were living together. It was just an awful, awful time. But as far as us living together, I thought it was good at the time. I was like, this is the best thing ever. He got me a job at a bank, and he got a better job as a manager at a lens crafters. So we were like making decent money. We got a joint bank account. Like, this place only had like 2 little gas burner stove things, a little sink that was basically the size of a bathroom sink to do the dishes in, and a dish rack. It was like a dorm room, whatever. So I played little housewife. We didn't have a washer or dryer, so I would get all of his clothes and my clothes, and I would take them 45 minutes to my mom's house to do laundry and then like lug them back in a trash can. And he was home the whole time. He could have helped me, but he decided he wanted to be home because it was his day off and he wanted to play video games. He would like buy alcohol, obviously, because he was of age and I wasn't. So he would buy alcohol. We would drink every single night. My friends always said throughout that time that we lived together, which was around 4 months that we ended up living together, every time I would meet up with friends or with family, I would just talk so much because he wouldn't talk to me. We talked, but about things that were very on the surface. He would vent to me about his life and I would be there for him, but if I did the same, he just wasn't there for me like that. So when I saw friends or something, I'd be like, oh my god, you know what happened? Blah, 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 blah. And I would like just be talking because he like neglected me so much. It just wasn't healthy. I didn't see that at the time. Whatever. So I played housewife. When I would do the laundry, I would come back and I would leave his clothes like laid out. I would put away everything. I would clean up everything. I would do the laundry. I would mop. I think the whole time we lived together, he cleaned once. Long story short, we go on a cruise for my 19th birthday, which was August 17th, 2012. It was the first time I'd ever been on a cruise with a significant other. I usually just go with family. I never have been on a vacation with someone. So it was really exciting. And we go on the cruise and we had a good time. And when we come back, things just like changed. He was being really weird. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? He basically just started acting really bizarre. I remember one time I got really sick and I felt like fainting and he just like didn't even care. He was just playing video games. He tells me 4 days later, he's like, hey, I need to move back home. And I was like, hold on 1 second. I gave up everything to be here. You know, let's figure, why do you need to move back home? Are you breaking up with me? And he's like, no, I'm not breaking up with you, but my family needs money and I can't continue to live here and pay rent. Mind you, we only paid $600 a month. So I was like, okay, let's just send them money. I will either see if I can get more hours or I'll figure out something, or I will spend less money and I'll send them money. How much do they need? Let's do this together. We're in this together. And he was like, no, that's not gonna work. I go to my mom's house. And my mom, being the fucking badass bitch that she is, I tell her this and she goes, yeah, no. You're gonna have to talk to him about the real reason why he's leaving. I'm like, what do you mean? He needs to help his family with money. And she's like, yeah, no. No, you need to ask him. So I go home that night, I wait for him to get home, and when he gets home, I'm like, okay, you need to tell me the real reason why you're leaving. And he said, I just need space, Jessi, I just need space. And I'm like, motherfucker, you need space? You're the one who wanted to do this. We did this together. No, you can't, no, you can't have space, bitch, no, no. I was like frantically trying to find a way to fix things because I'm like, no, I haven't spoken to my fucking father in 6 months. You can't do this shit. So it went from 0 to 100 real quick. He basically just said, I can't be in this relationship anymore. I have to go. And I lost my shit. I was so heartbroken. I remember calling my mom and just like, I could not even speak. I was like, he's leaving, and I just... Blah. It was like 3 days of me begging him not to leave. And then I went to work. Basically, my coworkers at the time were like, you need to tell him to get out today. Because he hadn't given me a definite day that he was leaving. He was just kind of like lingering and still at home. I knew he was gonna leave, but he hadn't left yet and it was awkward. So they were like, you need to tell him to get the fuck out today. So I was like, okay, yes, you're right. And I told him, get the fuck out of my house, bitch. And he was like, okay, I'll have my stuff out by today. I called my dad, who I hadn't spoken to on the phone in months, and I said, can I go by your house? Can we talk? And he's like, yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. And I said, me and Jonathan broke up. And he said, okay, be at my house at 7. So I watched Jonathan take all his stuff out. His sister was there. By the way, me and his sister still follow each other on Instagram. So girl, if you're watching this, hey. Whatever, I watched him and his sister take all his shit out, and I brought him into the bathroom. As all of his shit was already out of the house, I brought him into the bathroom and I looked at him and I said, I know all your shit is in the car and I know you want to leave, but please don't. Like, I was begging, and I said, you know, once you leave, I'm done. Anybody who's ever been in a relationship with me knows that I always say, if we break up once, we're done. We're never gonna be in a relationship again. That's just not how I work unless 8 years pass and we both become different people and we're not gonna break up for the same reason. I just don't understand the idea of getting back with someone right after you break up. Like 3 months later, nothing's really gonna change. The things that were an issue are still gonna be an issue, so you need to let time pass. So I let him know that, and he's like, no, I'm leaving. So he got all his shit and he left. Since we had a joint bank account, I was like, well then, fuck you. And I went to the ATM and I took out all our money and I was like, fuck him, I'm taking this money, this is my money. And I went to my dad's house and I told him what had happened. And this is like a really emotional part of the story because like I didn't expect my dad to take me back. I didn't expect my dad to ever forgive me. My dad told me, he's like, I literally had to make it as if you were dead. Like I had to make it as if I lost a child because that's how horrible this situation has been. You know, it's hard when you're watching your child make a mistake and you can't do anything about it and you just have to let them do it, but it's been really bad for me. And I was like, I know, I'm so sorry. And he goes, okay, so whose house are you gonna move to, your mom's or mine? I started crying and I said, you're gonna let me come home? And he's like, Jessi, don't ever let a man make you think that your family's not gonna be here for you at the end of the day. He's like, you could have called me when you were with him if something went bad, and I don't care how fucking upset I am at you, I will be there. And it was just, ugh. And so this motherfucker begged for me back for about 3 years. I would say it took him a month to realize how fucking awesome I am. No, but seriously, I would say it took him a month to start coming back to me. The number one reason I never got back with him was for my family because I really did love this man. I don't think I loved myself enough at that time. It was so crazy that up until 6 months ago, he called me. It was a random call because we hadn't spoken in a while. I had blocked his number. And he said, is there any chance that you will marry me? And I'm like, hello to you too. How's life? And he's like, no, I'm serious. Do you see yourself ever marrying me? Because he's always said, like, you are the only woman. Like, I can have a family, I can have kids, I can be married, and I will always wish it was you. And I told him, no, I mean, I'm sorry, but I can't do that to my family. We're in different places. I'm a completely different person. You don't even know me. And about, I would say 2 months after that, I found out he was engaged. So he was asking me, and it's kind of sad for his life and for the girl that he's with, but he was asking me because he was just hoping there was some hope so that he can fucking kick this girl to the curb, but if not, he was just gonna settle. So like, it's really sad, and I guess in the end I win, and I'm glad I'm not with his ass. But yeah, that's the story of when I moved in with my boyfriend. I definitely want to live with the guy that I plan on marrying way before we get married, but it's gonna take a long time of dating. I think I was just so desperate to get out of the house that I just fucking did it. But yeah, do you guys have any stories of stupid shit you did for guys that didn't deserve it? Put it down below. Anyway, I love you guys. I hope you liked the story time. I know it wasn't like haha funny, but I figure, you know, the more I can share with you guys, the more you know about my life, the more we become best friends. Anyway, I love you guys, and I will talk to you next week. Bye!